Hey, this is Jillian Johnsrud, and today I'm coming to you from Yosemite National Park, and we are going to be talking about passive income. What is it? How do you create it? And what is it not? Check it out. So let's talk for a second about what passive income isn't. Passive income isn't magically getting this money that required no upfront work, no upfront investment, no time. That, my friends, is called winning the lottery, not passive income. And even winning the lottery, you have to drive to the store and invest $1 or now $2 to make that happen. So what is passive income? Passive income is when you put a whole bunch of work, a whole bunch of time, a whole bunch of effort into something up front, and now it pays you a disproportional amount of money compared to your regular hourly wage. So I feel like passive income is one of those things that we hear a lot, or we've heard that term or the idea, but what exactly does it even mean? Basically, passive income is any time when you earn a disproportional amount of income compared to your normal hourly wage. So it's things that's mostly passive. Now, most passive income, to be honest, it takes a lot of work up front, it takes a lot of time, and sometimes a lot of money up front, but then the income becomes very disproportional. So for example, let's say you want to Airbnb a room in your house. It took a lot of time and work to buy a house and to get it all set up, but for this example, let's say your hourly wage is $20 an hour, and you're Airbnb your room for 3 nights at $50 an hour, so you're earning $150. But this is probably going to take you some time. It's not totally work-free, so maybe it takes you about 2 hours between the booking and the email and washing the bedding when they're gone. So you've done 2 hours worth of work. So your regular wage is $40, but it paid you $150. So that 2 hours, that's just earned income. You worked, you earned, that is trading your time for money, normal job stuff. But that other 110, that's passive income. You didn't actually trade more time to earn that money. And this is true for a lot of different things. And the proportion for the amount of time versus the amount of passive income it takes is different for everything. So stocks are a great example of something that's very passive. And typically, the more time and money it takes up front, the more passive the income is. So if you put in 20 years in an industry and you were able to save $1 million, that $1 million would throw off at 4% about $40,000 a year. And it might only take you a couple hours to manage that. So it's a lot of passive income versus Airbnb-ing your house. It doesn't take as much time or as much money up front to do, but there again, it puts off less passive income. But this is great news because it means that there's something for everybody. There's an easy way to get started, and there's ways that you can continue to grow to have, passive income that's more and more passive compared to the amount of time you're putting in. So if you have 20 years, stocks are a great option, but if you want to start creating some passive income right away, there's lots of smaller things that you can do to help create that passive income. And there are a whole bunch of different examples of what passive income might be. So you could invest in stocks or bonds or CDs. Now that requires doing a whole bunch of work up front to earn that money, to create that income. And it still takes a tiny bit of ongoing work. Even if you just invest in index funds and you do something really low maintenance, you are gonna create a much higher percentage of passive income because that work isn't gonna take a bunch of time. But if you're managing $1 million portfolio, you're probably gonna put in at least a few hours a year on that. Another great example are rental properties or Airbnb-ing your house. We paid cash for our house. It took a long time to save that cash. We actually saved for about 10 years before we bought our first property. And then we put in a bunch of work after we bought our house. We did a bunch of renovations. We fixed it up. It took a couple years to actually finish all of those renovations. But now, while we're traveling, that's creating passive income for us because we're able to rent that out while we're off gallivanting through national parks. Sometimes passive income is just creating a business that gives you that disproportional amount of income for the time that you put in. It's just way above your hourly wage. So maybe it's a business that you don't have to put a ton of time in. Maybe you and a partner bought a storage unit facility together. Maybe you've created an online business and there's certain products that, well, they took a bunch of time up front, and building an audience took a bunch of time up front. Now they don't take that much time to maintain, but they still bring in a lot of income. Or sometimes you might do different kinds of loaning or investing. I know people who finance mortgages for other people and they earn 5 or 6% on those private lending. I know people who do hard loans on real estate and they get about 10% because they loan money to people who are renovating or flipping houses or investors. And they're usually shorter term loans. You know, it might be for 6 months or a year, but that creates some passive income for them. There again, there's work up front. There's work accumulating that income, and then there's work in finding those deals and finding those investors. But it creates a disproportional amount of income versus your normal hourly wage. So one of the great things about passive income is that it takes pressure off of you constantly trading your hours from income at a regular job or even your passion income. So for example, me and my family, we're vacationing right now. We're doing 10 weeks of travel visiting these national parks. Right now we're in Yosemite, but while we're traveling, while we're not actually doing any work, we're still producing passive income. So for us, we have our regular house that we're renting out, and each month that we're gone, that's producing $1,300 of passive income. We also have our rental properties. Now those are bringing in about $1,200 this month, and we're not really doing a lot of work to maintain that while we're out traveling. We also have a military pension. Whole bunch of work up front, whole bunch of sacrifice up front. But right now that's paying us about $1,450 each month that we're gone that we don't have to do any additional work for. And we have investments. If we were to be pulling 4%, which is the safe withdrawal rate from our investments, that would produce another $800 a month of income while we're out traveling. So we don't have to worry about doing a lot of earned income during these 10 weeks because we have that passive income that's covering all of our bills and expenses. There are so many reasons I love passive income. Even if you love your job, even if you love creating earned income, like that's great, but being able to have the flexibility that passive income offers is really what the key is. Because even if your earned income is great and it's something you're really passionate about, there are times when you might want to take some time off. There are times when a family member might get sick and you need to take a year off, or the economy changes and you lose half of your business. Having that passive income creates a safety net and it creates a buffer, and it just allows you more freedom and more options to pursue things that maybe aren't as profitable, to test things out, to experiment. You can take more risks. For us, it's allowed us to travel and to have more time with our kids and to focus on work that we really are passionate about instead of just taking on a bunch of projects because they pay the bills. So I hope you guys will put in the time and the effort and the work up front and just think about what kinds of passive income are appealing to you. I mean, there's so many options, and start taking those little steps, that test and scale level 1 stuff to make it happen. Thanks so much.